It's a beautiful set, really annoying and tough set. I got stuck in it for quite some time. Right? Let's look at this. A farmer had a rectangular land containing 205 trees. He distributed that land among his 4 daughters, A, B, C, and D, by dividing the land into 12 plots along 3 rows and 4 columns. 3 rows, 4 columns. The plots in rows X, Y, and Z contain mango, teak, and pine, respectively. Mango, teak, pine. Each plot had trees in non-zero multiples of 3 or 4, and none of the plots had the same number of trees. Lovely. So it's 12, 21, 28 multiples of 3 or 4. Each daughter had an even number of plots. That's very interesting. In the figure, the number mentioned in top left corner of a plot is the number of trees in that plot, while the letter in the bottom right corner is the first letter of the name of the daughter who got that plot. So if you look at this X, 1, there are 12 mango trees there going to C, 21 teak trees going to A. Right? For example, Abba got the plot in row Y and column 1 containing 21 trees. Very clear. Let's go to the next slide. Some information in the figure got erased, but the following is known. So it's a puzzle, classic puzzle. There are 12 cells. Each cell has 2 entries, a number and a letter. We're going to be given some information about that. We have to fill in the dots. Abba got 20 trees more than Chitra, but 6 trees less than Deepti. So this is linking 3 of the variables, 3 of the total number of trees. And that could be very useful. The largest number of trees in the plot was 32, but it was not with Abba. Not A, but 32 is the maximum. The number of teak trees in column 3 was double of that in column 2, but was half of that in column 4. This is useful because you're going to link 3 cells with variables. Both Abba and Bina got a higher number of plots than Deepti. Everybody gets an even number of plots. Abba and Bina got a higher number of plots than Deepti. The minimum anyone should have got is 2. The minimum Abba and Bina got should have been therefore 4. Right? So it's very interesting. That gives away a lot. Only Bina, Chitra, and Deepti got corner plots. Deepti got 2 adjoining plots in the same row. Bina was the only one who got a plot in each row and each column. Right? Chitra and Deepti did not get plots which were adjacent to each other, either in row, column, or diagonal. This is also useful. There's going to be a lot of plots. They don't get in row, column, or diagonal, not nearby. Bina was the only one who got a plot in each row and each column. So Bina has got 4 or 6, but 4 is more likely. We'll come there. The number of mango trees was double the number of teak trees. Lovely set of constraints. Obviously, it's going to be very tough thinking of which ones to carve out first, which constraints to carve out first. So I'm going to make some big inferences about some crucial constraints and then build from there. And so here, Abba got 20 more than Chitra, but 6 less than Deepti. So Chitra gets P, Abba will get P plus 20, and Deepti will get P plus 26. My preference is to not have a minus. So have the least one as P so that you can work upwards from there. Right? Likewise, I think this number, one constraint was very interesting. This one, the number of teak trees in column 3 was double that in column 2, but half that in column 4. If you assume a variable for 2, this is twice of that, this is 4 times of that. That could be a very useful constraint. Right? So some constraints leap out and give us something. So I'm going to pick those and start from there. Right? So what are the constraints that we like? Which are the ones that we like to make inferences on? A got 20 more than C, but 6 less than Deepti. So C, Chitra gets P, Abba will get P plus 20, and Deepti will get P plus 26. Okay. The number of teak trees in column 3 was double that in column 2, but was half of that in column 4. So we assume this is M, this is 2M, this is 4M. That's very useful because it captures 3 cells with the same variable. Okay. Both Abba and Bina got a higher number of plots than Deepti. So think about this. Deepti should have got at least 2. Everybody gets at least 1 plot. So Deepti should get at least 2. Abba and Bina should get at least 4. If we add these 3, it comes to 10. There are only 12. Or the remaining one, Chitra, should have also got 2. So A and B get 4 each. C and D get 2 each. Number of plots does not got anything directly to do with number of trees. So the total number of plots we've got allotted pretty straightforward. A and B get 4 each, C and D get 2 each. Bina was the only one who got a plot in each row and each column. We'll come to that. The number of mango trees was double the number of teak trees. I like this because the total number of teak trees we can get in the same variable. M, 2M, 4M, 21. So it is 7M plus 21. So total number of mango trees we can get as well. Let's see if we can put some detail onto this. And so M, 2M, 4M, and then we'll attack this one. And so total number of teak trees is 7M plus 21. So total number of mango trees is 14M plus 42, twice of this. If you add these two, it's 21M plus 63. This could be a lot because we might be able to guess M straight away. How so? We know that every single plot has a number of trees that is equal to, that is a multiple of 3 or 4. We have an M sitting here. So M has to be 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, one of these. So we could be able to narrow down on M if we get some detail on that. And so that is probably our next step in order to be able to get that detail clearly. And M is 3, 4, 6. We add those two up. Remember we got 14M plus 63. M could be 3. So 14 into 3 plus 63. Whatever that is, M could be 4, 14 into 4 plus 63, M could be 6, 14 into 6, sorry, not 14M, 21M, sorry, 21M plus 63, sorry about that. So we have 14M plus 42, 7M plus 21, so it is 21M plus 63, M could be 3, 4, 6, 8, any of those. Straight away, I am sensing that M cannot be large. If you put M as 8, 21 into 8 is 168. You add a 63 to it, it will go greater than 205. If you put M as 6, 21 into 6 is 126 plus 63. This will take us to 189. We'll have only 16 more trees remaining, but these two add up to 37. So that's not possible. And so this, if you can't put M as 6, so M has to be 3 or 4. Right? M equal to 4, if you try that, 21 into 4 is 84. 84 plus 63 is 147. From 205, you subtract 147, there's 58 remaining. 9 plus 28 is 37. We could still get 58 from there. So 4 is possible. 6, 8, 9, they're all not possible. So 3 and 4, both are possible. We don't know which one it is, but it is either 3 or 4. We don't have to worry about other numbers. Right? Lovely. So now let's look at some of the other constraints. Now the other constraints open up. Right? Deepthi got 2 adjoining plots in the same row, and remember Chitra and Deepthi did not get plots which were adjacent to each other. And so think about it. Chitra is here. For Deepthi, these 3 are out. Chitra is here. Deepthi, these 3 are out. And Deepthi gets 2 adjacent plots in the same row. Where should that be? It's very straightforward. This is Deepthi. This is Deepthi. Deepthi gets only 2 plots, and we can plonk both of those straight away. Lovely. So we can fill that in and then build from there. So these 2 are Deepthi. Now let's come back to that other constraint with Bina. There's a beautiful constraint here which says Bina was the only one who got a plot in each row and each column. So in this column, there's a plot here. Here there should be 1. Here there should be 1. Here there should be 1. There should be 1 here. What does that tell us? This has to be Bina. In this column, there's again 1 which has Bina in it. It can't be this, because in which case 3 will sit here, there'll be nothing here. And so this has to be Bina. The 4th one, in this row, there's got to be Bina. This is Bina. And so if we fill that in, then we can completely fill practically every cell for as far as the person is concerned. So this will be B, this will be B, this will be B. D has got 2, C has got 2, A has to have 4, this is A, this is A. So the person name kind of completes itself magnificently, beautifully. Now let's go back to, give me a second. Super. Now we can come back to our question on whether M is equal to 3 or 4. Now it's plain vanilla, very simple. Put m equal to 3, fill the numbers. Put m equal to 4, fill the numbers. We are good to go. Right? Now A has got completely filled. A has got 21, m, 9, 4m. If you add A's numbers, A adds up to 5m plus 30. If you put m equal to 3, A has 45. If you put m equal to 4, A has 50. This is m equal to 3. This is m equal to 4. Sorry. So m is 3, A has 45. M is 4, A has 50. Now, we know if C gets P, A gets P plus 20. So if A gets 45, C should total 25, or in this case 30. Lovely. If C gets a total of 25, C has already got 12 here. This number will be 13. 13 is not possible because in each cell, the number of trees has to be either a multiple of 3 or a multiple of 4. So wonderfully, this one gets eliminated. So M has to be 4, which fills us a bunch of entries. It will fill us this one, this one, this one straight away. Funnily enough, it will fill us this also because we'll now know C has 30. This is 12. We can fill this. So we go back and think about what A is. M cannot be 3. So M has to be 4. If you put M as 4, this becomes 4, 8, 16. Next step for us, we know C totals 30. This is 12. So this will be 18. And so now we have A adding up to 50, C adding up to 30, D therefore adding up to 56. We add these three, subtract from 205, we'll get the total for B. Brilliant. So let's do that. This is 6. This is 136. So from 205, we subtract 136. 200 minus 136 is 64. So this will be 69. So B gets a total of 69 trees. Brilliant. So we've got a total for B, that is 69. We have an 8 and 28 already sitting here. These two add up to 36. So these two should add up to the remaining 33. Right? So we have this much. Let's build on this. Right? Now we also know this total for teak. And so we filled 18, we filled 4, 8, 16. Teak is 21 plus 4, 25, 33 plus 16, 49. We know mango is twice of teak, so that is 98. 98 plus 49 is 147. From 205, we subtract 147. This will be 58. So this total should be 58, which is very useful because we know three numbers here. 18 plus 9 is 27, plus 28 is 55. So this number should be 3. We've got practically everything going for us. If this is 3, we can find this number because we know B totals up to 69. We've already found that. So B adds up to 69. 3 plus 8 plus 28. 36 plus 3, 39. We've already accounted for. So remaining 30 sits here. Brilliant. So we've got everything going for us except those last two cells. There's a one beautiful constraint sitting here, which is the largest number of trees in a plot was 32. So that is not with A. That has got to be with D. There's no 32 anywhere else. D totals up to 56, or D's 56 should come from 132 and 124 remaining. Now we don't know whether it's 32 and 24 or 24 and 32. There's no detail to fix that part. So this could be 32 or 24. That will be the other one. And so we've got every single cell. We've got it completely filled. We know which cell belongs to which person. We know the number of trees in each one. Each cell, each row, each column is completely filled. The only open-ended thing is that D could be 24 or 32, 32 or 24. It's either 24 and 32 or 32 and 24. Right? Lovely, beautiful set, very tough, too many constraints, lots of variables. You must have a sense of which constraint to knock on first. Fine. I love those constraints which grab variables across cells. So the M, 2M, 4M, I really like that. P plus 20, P plus 26, I really like that. So it's three things caught with the same variable. So work with those. This is double of that. So the total here is also got in terms of M. And then you can find this remaining in terms of m, because you know the total number of trees is 205. And we can work with that. Everything that gives you with the same variable multiple cells, chase those. Okay. Lovely. We've done this completely. Now we have this whole grid. All you've got to do is answer the questions. Let's go for them. How many mango trees were there in total? Mango, we did it. 56 plus 12, 68 plus 30, 90, 49, 98. So twice of that. Oops. 98, good to go. We have already done that. This is 49, this is 98, that's the remaining. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Which of the following is a correct sequence of number of trees received by A, B, C, and D? A gets 50, B got 69, C got 30, D got 56. 50, 69, 30, 56. Good to go. We know all four numbers. We don't have to guess from answer choices or anything. How many pine trees did Chitra receive? Pine, Chitra, 18. That's straightforward again. Who got the plot with the smallest number of trees, and how many trees did that plot have? Smallest number is 3. 3 with Bina, this one. So 3 and Bina. Which of the following statements is not true? Bina got 32 pine trees. Bina got 3 plus 28, 31 pine trees, not 32. This looks like this is wrong, or this is the answer choice we're looking for. Deepthi got 56 mango trees. That is correct. We're looking for something that is not true. Chitra got 12 mango trees. That's given in the question. A got 41 teak trees. 21 plus 4, 25 plus 16, 41. This is also correct. These three are true. That one is not true. I think we've done almost all questions. Yeah, one more still to go. Which column had the highest number of trees? This is interesting. We can add this up. We can add all of this up. But we cannot find the total here. And so it looks like it cannot be determined. There's a catch. And so this is a small number. 12, 21, 3. This is 34, 18. It's likely to be higher. 30 plus 4, 34 plus 18. 52. Right. The key thing here is 28 plus 16 is 44. This is 19 more than this. This is 8 more than this. That difference is maximum going to be minus 8. So any which way, this will be higher. This will be 44 plus 24 or 44 plus 32. It's either 68 or 76. In both cases, it will be higher than this, this, and this. Or even though we don't know how many exact trees are there, how many trees are there exactly in columns 3 and 4, we can still say that column 4 had the maximum number of trees. We don't know which one is 24, which one is 32, but doesn't matter. If this were 24 and this 32, this would still have a larger number of trees. 68 will still be greater than the other three numbers. And so, beautiful set, really challenging. You need to get your act right at multiple levels. Things to remember, don't get intimidated by this. It's going to give you 6 questions as a reward. If you got just this one set right, you're on a decent score already. So it can happen that you get stuck somewhere. So power through, hang in there. Grab those constraints which give you multiple entries for the same variable. It's likely to be useful. Start with that and then build through. Fine. Cheers, guys. This again is a set from CAT 2020, slot 3, LRDI. Wonderful set. 6 questions, but not that freakishly difficult. Let's go through this. The high-low game is a 4-player game played in 6 rounds. In every round, each player chooses to bid high or low. The bids are made simultaneously. If all 4 bid high, then all 4 lose 1 point each. Okay, interesting. If 3 players bid high and 1 bids low, then the players bidding high gain 1 point each. The player bidding low loses 3 points. 1, 1, 1 minus 3. If 2 players bid high and 2 bid low, then the players bidding high gain 2 points each, and the players bidding low lose 2 points each. 2, 2 minus 2 minus 2. Then after this, we should go to 1 player bids high and 3 bid low. Then the player bidding high gets 3 points. The players bidding low lose 1 point each. 3 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1. Wonderful, wonderful. But it's interesting, but throughout the high bid is better. Right? Let's go to the last one. If all 4 bid low, then all 4 gain 1 point each. So bidding low is good for everybody. If everybody bids high, everybody stands to lose. So that's what you're thinking. So it's very interesting. So if I were playing this game, I would be tempted to never bid low. Because only if all 4 bid low, is it all right. Otherwise, you're better off bidding high. But That's the game part of it. Forget about it. Let's come to the question. Very interesting. So high, you get -1, -1, -1. 3 highs and a low, 1, 1, 1, -3. 2 highs, 2 lows, 2, 2, -2, -2. And then etc. 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 These kind of questions is very intuitive, very interesting to see what are the total number of points in a round. And so if you look at this, if you have all players bidding high, then each of them loses a point. So total number of points is -1. If all four bid low, then each of them gets a point. Low gives us +4. In other cases, it cancels out. It's 1, 1, 1, -3, or -1, -1, -1 +3, or +2, +2, -2, -2. You stand to lose as a group if all are high, gain as a group if all are low. In other cases, the sum total is still 0. It's a zero-sum game. It just gets apportioned differently. Right? Let's go here. Look at this. 4 players, Arun, Bankim, Charu and Deepak, played the high-low game. The following facts are known about their game. At the end of 3 rounds, Arun had scored 6 points. Deepak had scored 2 points. Bankim and Charu had scored -2 points each. At the end of 6 rounds, some scores, I can't retain this, so I'm going to come back to that. This I like. Deepak's score in the 3rd round was less than a score in the 1st round, but was more than a score in the 2nd round. In exactly 2 out of the 6 rounds, Arun was the only player who bid high. And so we'll come to these. This seems like a tiebreaker to find out one final resolution. We'll come to this also, but I think we've got ourselves a brilliant starting point here. Why so? A, B, C, D. Luckily, A gets 6, B gets -2, C gets -2, D gets 2. If you add all of them up, A plus B plus C plus D, you add A, B, C, D put together, you get 4. That's brilliant. There is a positive score. So it has to have happened from that low game. So there's one game where all 4 of them are bid low. So in one round, there is a low where they've got +4. And then the other 2 have resulted in 0. Right? The other 2 could have been all high and all low, resulting in a total of +4 only. But that's not possible because then they'll have all identical scores. And so one game has low that we have in the bag. So let's capture that. Right? There's just capturing the data. All high, 3 high, 1 low, 2 high, 2 low, 1 high, 3 low, all 4 low. The total points here is 4. Here is -4 to 0, 0, 0. In the case of our first 3 rounds, there's definitely one round of this. There's no round of this because then this -4 would have to get cancelled with that +4 to result in a total of +4. That's not happened. And so we've had one round of this that we know. Let's think about this, the instance where Arun has got 6. So he's got 1 point here. Everybody has got 1 point. That game has happened. But then this guy has got to get to 6 points. That means he has to get 5 points in the remaining 2 rounds. It's easiest. This is one result. This is one result. It's the only possibility he'll get to 6 points. Or the 3 rounds where 2 high, 2 low, 1 high, 3 low, 4 low. And in both of these instances, Arun has put the high. So this is very clear. This is Arun. This is B, C, D. In some order. So this is A, B, C, D. That's all good. In this case, Arun has put a high. Deepak has scored 2 points. Bankim and Charu have scored -2. Or the -2 are B and C. Deepak has scored. Obviously, I'm not writing this in order. I'm not doing A, B, C, D here. I'm thinking round wise. What has happened? These are the 3 rounds that have happened in some order, mind you. And so let's look at this. So these are the 3 rounds that have happened. So we know this much, right? And we also know that the HHLL has been A and D have been high, B and C have been low. Now let's look at this point. It's a wonderful point which says Deepak's score in the 3rd round was less than his score in the 1st round, but was more than his score in the 2nd round. 3rd round was less than 1 in the 1st round, more than in the 2nd round. 2nd round should have been minimum. 1st round should have been maximum. As it turns out, this order is fine. Or we can clearly say this was round 1, this was round 2, this was round 3. And so his Deepak score in the 3rd round was less than the score in the first round, more than the score in the second round. Yeah, 1 is less than 2, greater than -1. So we've not only got R1, R2, R3 together, we know what was round 1, what was round 2, what was round 3. Wonderful. So now let's go and take this game to the next 3 rounds. Right? At the end of 6 rounds, Arun had scored 7 points. Bankim and Deepak had scored -1 point each, and Charu had scored -5 points. So we get the data till 6 rounds. We already know the data till 3 rounds. So I want to think about rounds 4, 5 and 6 put together. What do they account for? So I want to think about R4, R5, R6. Arun has gone from 6 to 7, or Arun has scored 1 point. Bankim has gone from -2 to -1, or Arun has scored 1. Bankim has scored -1. Charu has gone from -2 to -5. Charu has picked up -3. And Deepak has gone from 2 to -1. So Deepak has also picked up -3. Once again, we just add all of this up. We add this. Wait a second, I think I'm making some calculation mistake. Bankim and Deepak had scored -1 point each. So Bankim has gone from -2 to -1. Bankim has also added 1. So 1, 1, -3, -3. That's what they have done in the last 3 rounds. Add all of this up, we get -4. Or in the last 3 rounds, there's one round of -4, which is all high. There's one round which is all high. Again, same reasoning. It's not, the remaining is not coming from this and this combined. Otherwise, they would have got identical scores. So in the last 3 rounds, there's no round of 4 low. One round of this already happening. Lovely. So let's capture that. And so now let's come back to this. A got 1. B got +1. C and D got -3 each. And so there's one game where all of them got -1, -1, -1, -1. If you leave out that game, A has got +2, B has got +2, C and D have got -2 and -2. And so 2, 2, -2, -2 is not just one game. It doesn't work like that. They could not have that just this game, because then there'll be no room for the last game. So it's not just this. And so it has to be some combination. Remember, if I combine this and this, it gets tricky. So A could have got 3 points and then a -1 later on. But if anyone gets a -3, we are in trouble. We don't have an offsetting +1 in the next match. Or if you think about it, both instances were just this. So A wins in one game and B wins in one game. So A has a +3 and a -1. B has a +3 and a -1. C and D pick up -1, -1 in both rounds, adding up to their -2, -2. We are good to go. So in the last 3 rounds, there are 2 instances of HLLL, 1 high and 3 lows. So HLLL, there are 2 instances of that happening, with A being the H in one case and B being the H in one case. And there's 1 instance of all 4 being high. Lovely. So let's put that in. 2 instances of HLLL and 1 of HHHH. In these 2 instances, in one case, A is the guy who's put high. In one case, B is the guy who's put high. Which is why 3 plus -1 is 2, which is what was remaining. 3 minus 1 is 1, which is what he added in the last 3 rounds. Now let's put the entire data set together. Round 1 to round 6. Rounds 1, 2, 3 we know. 4, 5, 6 we know. But remember, 4, 5, 6 we know that these rounds happen, but we cannot say for sure what happened in round 4, what happened in round 5, what happened in round 6. That we don't know. We don't know what exactly happened in round 4. And this could have been in some other order. Could have been HLLL, HHHH, HLLL. Right? So multiple possibilities exist in the sequencing of this, but broadly these 3 rounds happen. This will tie up with all the data that we have been given. Once we have this, we can jump in and attempt the questions. What were the bits made by A, B, C and D respectively in the first round? H, L, L, H, high, low, low, high. In how many rounds did Arun bid high? In how many rounds did Arun bid high? 1, 2, 3, 4. In how many rounds did Bankim bid low? 1, 2, 3, 4. In how many rounds did all 4 players make identical bids? 4 highs and 4 lows. 4 lows here, 4 highs in one of the 3 rounds, 2 instances, 2. In how many rounds did Deepak gain exactly 1 point? Deepak gains 2 here, loses 1 here, exactly 1 point here, and then minus 1, minus 1, minus 1 there. So he gains exactly 1 point in only 1 instance. In which of the following rounds was Arun definitely the only player to bid high? The only player to bid high definitely in round 2. He is the only player to bid high in one of these 3 rounds also, but we cannot say whether it was round 4 or round 5 or round 6. We can say for sure that in round 2 he was the only player to bid high, but in round 4, 5, 6, within that in 1 he was the only player. We don't know which one. So for sure we can say second round. XYZ organization got in the business of delivering groceries to home at the beginning of the last month. Last month beginning, they started this. They have a 2-day delivery promise. However, their deliveries are unreliable. They must be a startup. And an order booked on a particular day may be delivered the next day or the day after. Nice. If the order is not delivered at the end of 2 days, then the order is declared as lost at the end of the second day. Not delivered, then declared as lost. XYZ then does not deliver the order, thank God, but informs the customer, marks the order as lost, returns the payment, and pays a penalty for non-delivery. Lovely. So they're a not particularly efficient startup, but well funded. Right? So the following table provides details about the operations of XYZ for a week of the last month. The first column gives the date. The second gives the cumulative number of orders that were booked up to and including that day. The third column represents the number of orders delivered on that day. The last column gives the cumulative number of orders that were lost up to and including that day. I'm not able to register and hold on to much of this. I think it'll all make a little bit more sense once we see the table. Once we see the table, then it makes sense. Till then, we have nothing going. So, some 2 more sentences, but I want to look at the table first. Fine. So, 13, 14 till 19, cumulative orders booked till that date, orders delivered on that day, cumulative orders lost till that day. Fine. So I don't like this cumulative business. If cumulative till 13th is this much, cumulative till 14th is this much, we can find the 14th number. Fine. What we're also told is orders booked on 13th are delivered on 14th and 15th, the day after or the day after that, next day or the day after that. And then marked as lost at the end of the, if this is n, they delivered on n plus 1, n plus 2. Then at the end of n plus 2, marked as lost. It is known that the numbers of orders that were booked on 11th, 12th and 13th of the last month that took 2 days to deliver were 4, 6 and 8 respectively. Booked on 11th, 12th, 13th. I think that we'll come to that. We want to fill this out first. And first of all, I don't like to deal with the cumulative numbers. So let's go to what was order booked on each day. An order booked on each day, if we fill that, 249 minus 219, this would be 30. 277 minus 249, 28. This is 25. 25. 5. Orders lost, 92 minus 91, 1, 2, 12, 12, 2, 9. These are the orders lost on the day. These are the orders booked on the day, not orders delivered on the day. Whatever is booked on this day is delivered on this day, and then this. Booked on this day is delivered here, and then marked as lost here. And if it is not delivered, that is. We filled all of this in. Nice, juicy, straightforward. Now let's go. We've done all this. Orders of the day delivered eventually. How do I find that? So orders booked on the day is this. And then orders lost on the day is this. Remember, what is lost on this date is not the order booked on this date. Order booked on any one day is marked as lost after this attempt and this attempt marked as lost here. So the 14th order booked on 14th will be tried on 15 and 16 and then marked as lost at the end of 16th. Whatever is here is going to be marked as lost here. Whatever is here is going to be marked as lost here. What shape I don't have yet? Nice oval. This one is going to be marked as lost here. Or we have orders booked on the day. We have orders for the day that were eventually marked as lost. Or we can find out orders of the day that were delivered. Not orders delivered on the day. But there are two quantities here. If you look at 14th of the month, there could have been bunch of orders delivered on 14th. There could have been bunch of orders delivered, booked on 14th. Booked and delivered. That is simple. Delivered on 14th, booked on 14th. Booked on 14th and eventually delivered on 15th or 16th. That is booked but not lost for 14th. That we can track. Let's track that. Why should we not keep an eye on that? That is quite simple. 30 minus 12. 28 minus 12. 25 minus 2. 23. 25 minus 9. 16. And so orders for 14th were 30, of which 18 were delivered, 12 were lost. This 18 were delivered on this date, this date. This 16 delivered on here and here. This 23 here and here. This 16 here and here. That much we know. Now let's come to that final nugget, this one. It is known that the number of orders that were booked on 11th, 12th and 13th that took 2 days to deliver are 4, 6 and 8. So 11th, it will take 2 days, it will be delivered on 13th. 12th, if it takes 2 days, it will be delivered on 14th. 13th, if it takes 2 days, it will be delivered on 23rd. The orders delivered on 13th will be 11th orders and 12th orders. 11th orders were 4. The remaining 7 should have been the orders booked for 12th. 6 plus 21. 8 plus 15. Just filling in the numbers. Right? This is the orders booked on 11th. This is the orders booked on 12th. Orders of 12th, orders of 13th. Orders of 13th, orders of 14th. Now, this tells us straight away, orders for 12th that were delivered on 13th is 7. Delivered on 14th is 6. Or 7 plus 6, 13 were delivered eventually. Or this number for 12th. This number is 13. Orders for 12th that were delivered is 13, 7 plus 6. Orders for 13th that were delivered is 21 plus 8, 29. We can fill that in because we know what was delivered. And orders on 11th here that were eventually fulfilled, one is this 4, but a bunch of orders for 11th would have been delivered on 12th. We don't have that number. So we can't fill this in. These two we can fill. Okay? Lovely. So let's fill that also. 13 and 29. Now what else can we fill? We've already seen this is 11th and 12th orders, 12th and 13th orders, 13th and 14th orders. And so orders for 14th that were delivered on 15th, that is 15 of them. Orders of 14th that were delivered is 18. Of this 18, 15 were delivered the next day, or 3 more were delivered the subsequent day. Of this 11, 3 are here, the remaining 8 should be here. This is orders of 14th, orders of 15th. Same process we can extend this. For 15th, 16 orders were delivered. 8 were delivered on n plus 1. The remaining 8 have to be here. So this becomes 8 plus 13. This is orders for 15th, orders for 16th. Again, same process. This 8 plus 8 is 16. Now we can go and take this 23. Of this 23, 13 were delivered the first day. That means 10 would have been delivered subsequent day. This is 10, should be plus 3. Lovely. So of this 16, 3 were delivered on this day. Remaining 13 should come here, plus 1. So 15th and 16th orders, 16th and 17th orders, 17th and 18th orders. So 17th orders, 13 of them, 18th orders, 1 would have been delivered. Okay. Lovely. So we fill this out. We fill this out as much as possible. Let's see those numbers as well. Okay. So far so good. Now let's see this. Orders delivered eventually, 29 and 13. Orders delivered eventually for 13th. Whatever was booked, 29 were delivered. 21 was delivered on 14th, 8 were delivered on 15th. Brilliant. How many were booked? So 21 were delivered on 14th, 8 were delivered on 15th, and then 2 were marked as lost at the end of 15th. That means what should have been booked here is 31. 29 plus 2. Same idea. This is 13. Of this 13, 7 were delivered on n plus 1, 6 were delivered on n plus 2. 1 was marked as lost at the end of that. So how many should have been booked? 14. 13 plus 1, 14. So we managed to fill out that as well. So 14. So on the 12th, 14 orders were booked. Of these 14, 13 were delivered. The 13 were delivered as 7 plus 6. 7 on the next day, 6 on n plus 2. On 13th, 31 orders were booked. Of these 31, 29 were delivered as 21 and 8. On that day, 11 were delivered. 4 from our 11th tally, 7 from our 12th tally. And then so on, completely filling this. So we've got this beautiful grid. Each day we can find out what's happening. Let's see where the questions take us. Among the following days, the largest fraction of orders booked on which day was lost? Largest fraction that was lost. Talking about 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. Largest fraction lost. 13th, 13th we lost 2. Fraction lost is 2 by 31. 14th we lost 12. 12 by 30. 15th again we lost 12. 12 by 28. 16 lost only 2. 2 by 25. 13, 14, 15, 16. These two are very small. Between 12 by 30 and 12 by 28. 12 by 28 is larger. The largest fraction of orders was lost on 15th. We lost 12 out of 28 orders. Which of the following days were the number of orders booked the highest? Again, 12, 13, 14, 15. These are the 4 days. Number of orders booked were the highest. 12, this 14, 13, 14, 15. This is the highest. 31 orders were booked on 13th. That is the highest. 31 orders. The delivery for a given day is defined as a ratio of the number of orders booked on that day, which are delivered on the next day, to the number of orders booked on that day, which are delivered on the second day of booking. I book on n plus 1 deliveries by n plus 2 deliveries. N plus 1 by n plus 2. That's what I want to do. The delivery ratio, which day was the highest, which is the best day delivery wise. What is very interesting is we're conveniently ignoring lost deliveries, which I find very unusual. I find it very annoying when they define ratios like this. Several companies and vendors and apps and rating, they all do this so that it becomes very convenient. They can showcase good numbers. If this is done, then the guy who's in charge of delivery ratio, instead of delivering it on the second day, he'll tank it and pay the fine, because he doesn't want this n plus 2 number to become too large. So n plus 2, if it doesn't get delivered, it gets tanked. It goes as delivery lost. That gets paid for. There's a separate account for that. And so I'm not happy with the ratio definition, but there's not a time to complain about that. We just need to define n plus 1 by n plus 2 deliveries. Find that. And so 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. Let's look at this. 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. So this is delivers on 11th and 12th, 12 and 13, 13 and 14, 14 and 15, 15 and 16, 16 and 17. The orders booked on 13th would have been delivered on 14 and 15. The ratio of 14th deliveries to 15th. So we're looking at 21 by 8. For 14th, we're looking at 15 by 3. Oh my God, that is 5. I think we have a winner here. Let's look at 15th. 15th would be 8 by 8. That doesn't work. 8 by 8. 16 is 13 by 10. By head and shoulders above the rest. 14th is our answer. 15 by 3. The average time taken to deliver orders booked on a particular day is computed as follows. Let the number of orders delivered the next day be X. The number of orders delivered the day after be Y. The average time to deliver orders is X plus 2Y by X plus Y. On which of the following days was the average time taken to deliver orders booked the least? So again, what are we doing here? We're ignoring orders lost. We're worrying only about what was actually delivered. This is the weighted average. X into 1 plus y into 2 by x plus y. We want it to be as low as possible. Or think about it, we want a scenario where x is very high, y is very small. And so we want the delivery to be good. The lower this is, the better it is. The higher proportion gets delivered on the first day, immediate earlier day 1 rather than day 2. When did that happen? I'm guessing it will be this 13, 14, 15, 16. It again goes with just that ratio. And so 15:3, gigantic. After 18 orders, 15 get delivered on day 1, only 3 on day 2. The previous last 2 questions are one and the same practically. This is 15:3, 5:1. So the ratio towards day 1 is so much higher vis-a-vis day 2. That will be the least. Look, I'm taking a chance and marking 14. This is the right answer. I'm going to be doing a question from LRDI. This was from CAT 2020 slot 3. Wonderful question. And so, a survey of 600 schools in India was conducted to gather information about their online teaching learning process, OTLP, quite appropriate for this year. The following 4 facilities were studied. F1 owned software for OTLP, F2 trained teachers for OTLP, F3 training materials for OTLP, F4 all students having laptops. 4 categories. The following observations were summarized from the survey. 80 schools did not have any of the 4 facilities. 40 had all 4. Okay. Straight away, the important thing is to look at an LRDI set and then say where are the cards falling. This one, you read till here. I'm going to shift to my marker mode. Sorry. You read till here. Then you should be able to say, okay, Venn diagram, set theory. I'm drawing diagrams, I'm going to figure out. And so we have in none of the 4, we have all of the 4. We're going to treat F1, F2, F3, F4 as sets. We're going to talk about F1 union, F2 union, F3 union, F4, whole complement. That is this. All 4 intersection, that is this. Quite obviously then, after this, we'll move on to F1 and F2 only, F2 and F3 only, F1, F2, F4, all of those in some form. That's what I expect. It's very important for you to be able to pick a set. And this one is a Venn diagram set with 4 sets, F1, F2, F3 and F4. And I used to draw this nice circle diagrams, and it's confusing. So I tried that, and it took me a long time, and I was peeved. So one of the guys told me quite that was one very other interesting way of presenting data, and I kind of took to it. It's a very interesting way. I'm going to outline that. The number of schools with only F1, only F2, only F3, and only F4 was 25, 30, 26, and 20 respectively. But lots of data, lots of numbers. Even at this point, you can sense that you've got to draw a diagram and put that in, because beyond this, you can't retain. 80 outside, 40 in the middle, then 4 onlys. Yeah, okay, I can grab it. But now I suspect we're going to go into territory of F1, F2, and F3, F2 and F4, but not the other 2. And that becomes tricky to try to remember, but this is a Venn diagram question, right? So let's see the subsequent set of constraints. Just glance through it, but not really take it too seriously. The number of schools with exactly 3 of the facilities was the same irrespective of which 3 were considered. This is interesting. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and 4. All 4 numbers are equal. And 313 schools had F2. Again, it's interesting. We've been given the F2 total number. 26 had only F2 and F3, but not F3 or F1 or F4. Among the schools having F4, 24 had only F3 and 45 had only F2. So 2 and 3 alone, 4 and 3 alone, 4 and 2 alone. Some nuggets were being given. 162 schools had both F1 and F2. Now, this number is not F1 and F2 alone. It's F1 and F2, F1, F2, F3, F1, F2, F4, F1, F2, F3, F4. All of those coming under this. The number of schools having F1 was the same as number of schools having F4. I'm not going to process all of this, but I have a sense. This is giving us 4 numbers. This is one large number of F2, and then assorted bits and pieces. I want to capture this data. It's nice, interesting format. So this is F1 under this rectangle plus square. This is F2. This is F3. This is F4. And interestingly, this format is very interesting because it helps us grab F1 as this entire set. The intersection between F1 and F2 is this. The 2 triangles meet. That jumps out. So entire thing is F1 and F2. If you take about this set, it is F1 and 2 and F3 or F1, 2, 3. This one is F1, 2 and 4, F1, 2, 4. Now, one distinction, when we say F12 here, we mean F1 and F2 only. If you're thinking about F1 intersection F2, there will be this, and this. Keep that in mind. When you're drawing this diagram, it's like our Venn diagram with 3 sets. So this is not intersection of F1 and 2. It is F1 and F2 only. This is F1, 2 and 3 only, no F4. So the regions are nice and clear and self-evident. So this number is intersection of everything. Outside this whole framework would be none of these, the schools which have none of these facilities. And so out of the 600, some 80 are sitting outside. Each of these regions, numbers can then be populated, filled in, and then we can try to simplify this. Now, this is the framework you're using. But remember, when I'm talking about this region as F1, 3, 4, which I've underlined it, that is F1, 3, and 4 only, no 2 in it. And so, whereas this number F1 is all of F1. This is F1 only. And so, if we look at it, we have, the question has already given us this number, this number, this number, this number. It has given us this number. It has given us the number outside. It has also told us that 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4 are all equal. And then in assorted fashion, it has given us some of the other numbers. And so a bunch of numbers we already know. Let's put them in and then we'll process it further. Fine. So total number 80 did not have any of the 4. So the total number is 520 that we know. 40 had all 4. F1 only, F2 only, F3 only, F4 only are 25, 30, 26, 20. These numbers we have filled in. These we know. F2 totally is 313. That is something to keep in mind. So we might probably add all of this up, equated to 313. Right? We know something more than that. Let's fill that as well. We know that each of these numbers is equal. So I'm putting it as n. N, 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 n. And this is 40. 25, 30, 26 and 20 get filled in. This 313 is got filled in. Right? Just 26 schools had F2 and F3, but neither of the other two. This is 26. Right? Lovely. So we know that 162 is the total F1 intersection F2. And so these 4 add up to 162. F12 and then these add up to 162. Think about it. This is 40. These two are n and n. So 40 plus 2n is accounted for. So out of 162, 40 plus 2n, plus 2n is accounted for, or we have 122 minus 2n sitting here. So F12, that is only 1 and 2, intersection of 1 and 2 without the other 2 is 122 minus 2n. And so now this helps us capture that 162 had both of them. Right? The number of schools having F1 was the same as number of schools having F4. So if this is K, this is also K. My gut feel now is our most interesting starting point would be this 313. But let's fill this data point as out of people having F4, 24 had only F3. So F3, 4 is 24. That is this number. And 45 had only F2. F4, 2, 4. Yeah. Fine. So in this grid, these 4 have filled themselves. This is taken care of itself. These 4 have filled. We have this number, and this number already filled. We need to find F13, F14, and n. If we find n, that will be a big breakthrough, because if we find n, then these 4 and this automatically get filled. And so our starting point now looks like it's going to be to find n. We know F2 is 313. In F2, we know this, and everything else is in terms of n. So if we attack that F2 being 313, maybe we'll get n, and that will take us somewhere. So let's jump that. So F2 is 313. That is, you add this 30, 26, 45, 40, and then the other expressions have n in them. So I'm going to add this. 30 plus 26 is 56. 56 plus 85. So this is 11, 141. To this, we add 122 minus 2n, n. So 122 plus n. So to this, we add 122 and then an n at the end. So we add this 263 plus n equal to 313. Or this gives us n is 50. So using the idea that F2 is 313, we can plug in anything else. You could have slightly done the slight variant. F12 intersection is 162. So you could have said all of these add up to 162. We used that to even plug in 122 minus 2n. This whole thing adds up to 162. And then we have these three numbers we can find n. Either way is fine. So this is, we have plugged everything in, going cell by cell, or saying that, okay, this is 162. Let me worry about the remaining regions. I find n. Once you find n, 50, 50, 50, 50 fills itself. 122 minus 2n is 122 minus 100, 22. That takes care of itself. So a bunch of cells get filled. Now what are we going to do? We're going to attack the next nugget that we have not used, which is F1 is K and F4 is also K. And so F1 and F4 are both K. So add everything up, and then equate the two. We should find something that is missing from this nugget. One way of doing that is to do that. I'm going to do a slight variation. I'm saying this is F1, this is F4. So this chunk is present in both of these lists. And so F134, F14, F124, F1234 is present on both of these lists. F1 has it and F4 has it. That is F1 intersection F4. That we can keep aside. We can add these four and equate it to these four. So add these four, equate it to these four, or 25 plus 22 plus 50 plus F13, which is this number, should be equal to 50 plus 24 plus 20 plus 45. This 50 gets knocked off. This is 47 plus F13 is 45 plus 44. 47 and F13 is 45 plus 44, or F13 is 42. Remember, this is F13 only. This number is 42. Lovely. We've taken the fact that this is K and this is equal to K and plugged that in and got to 42. Super. We filled everything in. We've got a lot of detail. This is 42. Now what else is remaining? We found these three, these three, these three, these three, these two. Just one piece here is missed out. We've used everything. We've used F1 is equal to F4. We've used F2 equal to 313. We used the idea these four are equal. All good, except for one fact, which is sum total of all of this put together is equal to 520. Plug that in, should get this. Everything put together is 520. The whole thing put together is 520. We can think about this 520 in different ways. One is to add everything up, find the missing number and put it in, or go step by step. The approach we've taken is to say exactly 1, exactly 2, exactly 3, exactly 4. Exactly 4 is all 4. Exactly 1 is this, this, this and this. Those have been handed on a platter to us. Exactly 2, there are many terms. So we'll come to that later on. All 4 is this. Exactly 3 is these 4. And so if you take the 520, the total number, exactly 1 is these 4. 25 plus 30 plus 20 plus 26. 25 plus 30 is 55 plus 20 is 75 plus 26, 101. That is exactly 1. Exactly 3 is 200. All 4 together is 40. So add all of this, we get 341. And so from 520, we subtract this 341, we'll get the remaining, just whatever, 179. That is 2 of these, exactly 2 of this, 1 and 3 only, or 1 and 4 only, etc., etc. There are 6 different terms there. 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, and then 2 and 3, 2 and 4, finally 3 and 4. Add all of this up. This is a missing term. Equate everything put together to 179. We are good to go, which is what we are doing here. So add everything up. 22 plus 42 plus F14 plus 26 plus 45 plus 24 is F14, F14 or F14. Remember, this has to be F14 with an underlining thing. It's only 1 and 4 is 20. This number is 20. With that, we have solved the entire grid. And so any combination of some 2 but not the other 2, some 3 but not the 4th, all 4 put together, none of the 4, all of those are there on a platter. You just need to jump to the question and answer them. What are the total number of schools having exactly 3 of the 4 facilities? 50, 50, 50, 50, 200. The kind of question where you solve the grid, then you're going to attempt the 4 questions in a hurry. What are the number of schools having facilities F2 and F4? F2 and F4 is some of these 4. Remember, it's not F2 and F4 only. It is F2 and F4. This entire intersection. 50 plus 50 is 100, 140, 185. Luckily that they are the choices. We're good to go. What are the number of schools having only facilities F1 and F3? Number 42. Number of schools having only facilities F1 and F4, the last number that we found, 20, good to go. Fine. Lovely set. Solving with 4 sets is tough, challenging. I did not do this in the exam, but I didn't even see this question. But it's a lovely set. I had quite some fun solving it. Drawing the diagram and solving is still possible. That's more intuitive. You get a feel for what the intersections are, but it's tricky. You need to be careful that when you draw circles like this, let's say we call this as F1, F2, F3 and F4. And so if you want to have F1, F2, F3, F4, F1 and F2 only is available here. F3 and F4 only is available here. F3 and F2 only. This is F3 and F2. F3 and F2 only. That becomes a very tricky region to map. On this diagram, you have to draw it slightly curved and take it out, or you have to say, I'm going to put all these regions, remember some of the missing regions and store that data separately. And so there's other ways of depicting this, not exactly circles, but curved shapes. Sure, you can look that up. That is possible, but this framework is very useful. So do get some practice with this. Blood test. You see this, 16 patients in a hospital must undergo a blood test for a disease. It is known that exactly one of them has the disease. The hospital has only 8 testing kits and has decided to pool blood samples of patients into 8 vials for the test. The patients are numbered 1 through 16 and the vials are labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. The following table shows the vials into which each patient's blood sample is distributed. It took me a while to understand this. So we take blood from patient number, We take blood from patient number 1 and put it into vials B, D, F and H. Patient number 10 and put it into A, D, F and G. And then distribute all of these, test those 8 vials. And so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are the vials. Suppose it says that, say B turns out positive. And so we look at those vials and say, okay, B is positive. It means whichever patient's blood has gone into B, any one of them is likely to be is likely to have tested positive. So if 8 vials have B in it, then 8 patients' blood has gone into B, then we can say one of these 8 is unwell. Then we'll use other things to eliminate whatever the process is. Right? If a patient has the disease, then each vial containing her blood sample will test positive. And so if patient 1 has the disease, B, D, F and H, all 4 will be positive. If a vial tests positive, one of the patients whose blood samples were mixed in the vial has the disease. One of the patients. If a vial tests negative, then none of the patients whose blood samples were negative. So I can say the positive test, the negative test is more powerful than the positive test. What do I mean by that? If vial B tests negative, fine. That means anything with a B in it, we can remove it. All of these have B, none of these patients have the disease. Straight away we can remove. Suppose we say vial B is positive, then 1 to 8, any patient could have it. While B is negative, we remove all of these. So we can just say, look, while B is negative, any patient whose blood has gone into vial B, that patient does not have the disease. Straight away, we can eliminate that. Right? So, interesting. Let's look at the questions from now on. Suppose vial C test positive and vials A, E, and H test negative. Which patient has the disease? A, E, and H test negative. All of these have A in it. They're all out. So they're all out. So A is negative, so all of these are out. Now let's come here. E and H are also negative. So, but while C test positive, so these four don't have a C in it, that we can remove straight away. BD, FH, BD, FG, BD, EH, BD, EG. C test positive. E and H turn negative. So this has a H in it, so this is out. This has an E in it. This is out. This has E in it. This is out. C positive, AEH negative. So patient number 6 has C and no AEH. So patient number 6 is a possibility and patient number 6 is the only possibility. Patient number 6 blood has gone into C and not in AE and H. So when we eliminated AE and H, C did not get eliminated and definitely turned out positive. So patient number 6 is the answer. Lovely. Let's go to the next one. Suppose vial A tests positive and vial D and G test negative. A tests positive, D and G test negative. So A tests positive. All of these don't have A. We can ignore this chunk. A tests positive and D and G test negative. So within A, we'll remove everything that has D or G. And this has a D, this is out. This has D and G, this is out. D, this is out. D and G, this is out. This has a G, this is out. Again, G, this is out. So we have ACFH and ACEH. Still two possibility. And so it could have been patient 13 or patient 15. If A tests positive, D and G test negative, we take that information. We've eliminated every patient that tested for D and G. We took into account only patient that tested that had A in it, that had their blood go into A. So this whole chunk is out. 6 out of those 8 are out. But we still have two possibilities because ACFH and ACEH, both patient 13 and 15 who have given their bloods into these, both of them will satisfy this condition, A positive and no D and G. Okay. Now we need to identify this. That means A, C and H are common. We need to look at while F or E, we test F and F turns out positive, then it's patient 13. F turns out negative, will be patient 15. And the other way around. So between these two, the distinguishing factor is F and E. So we need to look at the vial, either vial F or vial E. Is there one of the choices? Yep, F is not there, E is there. That's what we look at. We test vial E. If we test positive, then it's patient 15. If we test negative, then it's patient 13. Lovely. Which of the following combinations of test results is not possible? Vial B positive, C, F and H negative. B positive, that's one of these that we can completely eliminate. C, F and H negative. F and H negative. So it can't be this. It can't be this. There's an F, there's a H. Yep, this is possible. B positive, C, F, H negative. So if patient 4 had the disease, then B would be positive. And CFH would be negative because patient 4's blood is not going into CF and H. So that is very much possible. A and E positive, C and D negative. A is only here. A and E positive. So A and E positive would be this, and this. And within that, C and D negative. D is negative. So this is not, these two are not possible. C is also negative. These two are not possible. Nothing is possible. We don't have a patient where if results A and D come positive and C and D are negative, we cannot match anything here. A and D being included and C and D not included, not there. This is A and D, this is A and D, A and D, A and D. Here the two Ds, two Cs. So if patient 11 were positive, then A and D would turn positive, but D and H would also be positive. So D would also be positive. So that's not 11. Not 12, not 15, not 16. So this is not possible. Let's look at next. Vials B and D positive, F and H negative. B and D positive, F and H negative. So this is out, this is out, this is out. But it could be this again. Patient number 4, if patient number 4 has the disease, then B and D would be positive, F and H would be negative. Patient 4's blood is not going into F and H. That works. While A and G positive, D and D negative. A and G. So A and G positive. So A and G together are present here, 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 here. Within that, D and D negative. D negative. So this is not possible. D and D is not possible. This is not possible, but this is possible. Patient 14, if he had the disease, then A and G would have been positive, D and D would have been negative. So this much is also positive. Result B, this combination of results is impossible. There is no patient for whom A and D would have been positive. If he or she had the disease, A and D being positive and C and D negative, that's an impossible set of results. Lovely. Let's go to the next one. Suppose one of the lab assistants accidentally mixed 2 patients' blood samples before they were distributed to the vials. Which of the following correctly represents a set of all possible numbers of positive test results out of the 8 vials? It took me a long time to understand this. So, I didn't understand this question. When it said 5, 6, 7, 8, I was looking at patient 5, 6, 7, 8. I said, what is being tested? What is being missed out? Which vial is not tested? I didn't get the question at all. The question says, set of all possible numbers of positive test results. That is, how many positive results could be there totally? Right. So, 2 accidentally mixed patients, 2 patients' blood samples. So 1 and 2 could have been mixed, 3 and 4 could have been mixed, 11 and 14 could have been mixed. Right? If 1 and 2 were mixed together, I'm just going to take a hypothetical. 1 and 2 are mixed together. Then 1 goes into BDFH, 2 goes into BDFG. That means if 1 and 2 are mixed together and that one of them has positive, and so then BDFHG, 5 vials would test positive. That the number of vials that test positive is 5. So if 1 and 2 were mixed together and that were positive, then 5 could positive. So 5 is a possible number of vials that test positive. Lovely. Now if 1 and 2 were mixed together, and say vial number 16, patient number 16, not vial number 16, patient number 16 had the disease, then ACEG 4 vials would come from true. Basically not mixed. The mixture is not happening for the one who has the disease. It is happening for the one who does not have the disease. Then 4 vials will test positive. All of these have 4 each. So 4 is possible, 5 is possible. 4 and 5 are possible. Let's look at this. But these choices are hinting, even we can get a sense that even 6 might be possible. What do I mean by 6? Let's say 1 and 3, right? 1 and 3 get mixed and one of them has the illness. Then BDFH and E with BDH are common. Again, 5 vials will have that. So not 1 and 3. Let's go step further. 1 and 4. BDFH, BDEG or BDFHEG. 6 vials could come out positive if 1 and 4 were mixed. 1 and 4 and one of them having the illness, that would be 6. Lovely. So let's go step by step. 5 vials is very much possible. 4 vials testing positive, 1 and 2 are mixed up, and someone else, 16 test positive. That is possible. 5 is very much possible. If patients 1 and 2 were mixed up, we would have B, D, F, G, and H. One of them has the illness. Right? 6 is possible, 1 and 4. For 6, 1 and 4 could be mixed together. 7, let's think about 7. We need to mix such that there is 3 not overlapping, only 1 common. So there's a B here, DFH, CEG. DFH here, CEG here. So if 1 and 8 were mixed up and one of them had the illness, then B, D, F, H, CEG will all test positive. So 1 and 8 and one of them being unwell would be a mixture of all of these. Is 8 vials possible? All 8 vials test positive. Is there a scenario where there is no overlap? Think about this. All of these have B, all of these have A. So let's select one from here and one from there. This is CEG, this is DFH that we've already seen. BDFH and ACEG. If 1 and 16 get mixed up and one of them has the illness, then BDFH, ACEG will all test positive. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all 8 would test positive. So 8 would test positive if 1 and 16 were mixed up and one of them had the illness. That means, depending on the situation, we could have 4 vials testing positive, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of these are possible. So the number of vials that could test positive could be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All 5 possibilities exist. 4 vials could be positive, 5 vials could be positive, 6, 7, and 8. I found this tricky because I didn't get the question. I didn't read it properly. And so this sentence is very tricky. Set of all possible numbers of positive test results out of the 8 vials. So how many of these vials turn out a positive result? The number of vials, not the patient number, not the vial name, the number of vials that come out positive. That's what this is about. I didn't get that at all. It took me a while when I just just shooting in the dark. I just simply didn't get the question. I had to read it twice, thrice to understand what the question was about and then take some help. So read question once, twice, thrice over. It's a very crucial habit.